I would like to acknowledge the PICPA President, President Tita Kaluya, the past our Accountancy Week Chairman, Afat Martinez, the PICPA Committee on Cooperative Development, Minet Emig. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. At this early juncture, allow me to extend my heartfelt thanks for your kind invitation to be with you and to speak on some of the issues that we face in the cooperative movement and to celebrate National Accountancy Week. I have to say I'm both energized and a little concerned to address your group of most revered and respected professionals in the country's CPAs. I say that I'm energized simply because I always welcome the opportunity to speak to professionals such as you, as occasions like this give me the rare privilege not only of extolling the virtues and importance of the socio-economic value of your learned art, but also trying to rally to fulfill with even greater fervor their indispensable roles in nation building through the delivery of services to our society. I have heard and read some of the jokes that accountants have made belittling economists. Let me share some of the things that I have heard. I believe the topic I was assigned today was in recognition of my position as Vice Chairman of the Senate Committee on Cooperatives. In this role, I am to assess how the Philippine accountancy profession can help energize our country's cooperative sector through an analysis of some of the opportunities and challenges that are ripe for action in this sector of our economy. Simply put, our cooperatives operate in the same manner as corporations and partnerships, especially if you get to the rather sophisticated level of joining a mutual fund and merging all of the different elements of the cooperative operation. But cooperatives are also subject to government regulation and supervision, not by the SEC or the DTI, but by the CDA. They also have a different governing law, Republic Act number 6938, as amended by 9520. But theoretically, what sets cooperatives apart from other business organizations are the following principles. One, the principle of self-reliance and self-help, in that the members themselves are the capital contributors, patrons, clients, customers, and the beneficiaries of the services and income generated by the activities of the cooperative. Secondly, the principle of openness, voluntarism, and personal and democratic control, as embodied by the one member, one vote, non-discriminatory rules, and lower quorum rules. A third aspect of this is the concern for the community or social responsibility. We must consider the fact that social responsibility of cooperatives is actually mandated by law, unlike in other business organizations such as corporations and partnerships, much less in sole proprietorships. And finally, and possibly the most important aspect, is social justice, which is the end-all and be-all of all these underlying principles of cooperatives, again, mandated by no less than the Constitution. The social justice aspect of the government recognition of cooperatives lies in the single most important legal consequence under the law: the grant of tax incentives and other favorable terms and conditions. I submit that this is the one area where our Filipino CPAs can make use of and apply their skill and expertise to help give full effect and realization to the intention of the law and of our Constitution, and in response to the desperate yearnings of our fellow citizens who are actively engaged in the cooperative sector. In the realm of government regulation, one will see the imposing figure of the Filipino CPA silhouetted in the background. The CPA has been recognized as an indispensable partner of government in ensuring the veracity, accuracy, and transparency of financial documents, especially of legal fictions such as corporations, partnerships, and on the same theory, cooperatives, in order to ensure that public interest and safety are safeguarded. In the cooperative sector alone, our laws provide for areas where our CPAs, whether as employees of the government, of the cooperatives, or as self-employed practitioners, can play vital roles and exercise their learned skills for the benefit of the cooperatives and the entire cooperative movement. Under the Cooperative Act, registered cooperatives that transact and deal exclusively with their own members are not subject to, and I quote, I'm quoting the law here, are not subject to any taxes and fees imposed under the Internal Revenue laws and other tax laws. Whereas, registered cooperatives that transact or deal with non-members or to the general public are granted limited tax exemption and other privileges, the extent of which is determined by whether or not the accumulated reserves and undivided net savings are beyond 10 million pesos. In the words of the CDA, this makes the entire matter of tax incentives under the law a bookkeeping exercise. And again, the CPA is crucial in ensuring that this bookkeeping problem is ironed out and the social justice aspects and intentions of the law is fully realized and given effect. First and foremost, as you all know, the matter of tax incentives is being administered by our mighty PIR. I may not totally agree with the way they do it. But anyway, the current method is that for cooperatives to be able to avail of the tax exemptions under the law, they must first be issued a Certificate of Tax Exemption, or CTE, by the PIR. Before that, they must ensure a Certificate of Good Standing from the CDA, subject to prior and faithful submission of certain documents and other requirements. Ang paningin ko at ng mga nasa cooperative sector, hindi maganda ang sitwasyon ngayon sa pagtrato ng sektor na kooperatibo dito sa ating lipunan. First of all, there are about 23,600 cooperatives registered now with the CDA, 91% of which are from the micro, small, and medium categories, and just 9% are large cooperatives. Ang nabigyan ng Certificate of Good Standing ng CDA ay 11,600 lamang. 6,295 lamang ang mga nabigyan ng Certificate of Tax Exemption ng ating BIR. Mababa na ang bilang ng mga registered cooperatives. Mas mababa pa lalo ang nagbigyan ng Certificate of Good Standing ng CDA. Tapos, lalo pa, kakaunti, ang nabigyan ng BIR ng Certificate of Tax Exemption. It appears that our registered cooperatives get significantly reduced by 50% at every important milestone in their quest for tax-exempt status. If you ask me, this is not a good sign if we take into account the social justice objectives mandated by the cooperative law. To put it another way, the cooperative movement is not being sufficiently nurtured and effectively developed contrary to the intent of the law. In fact, no less than the CDA has made the stark observation that our cooperative sector remains underdeveloped. Could it be that cooperatives are really not a viable and profitable economic option? Could it be that there may be an inherent flaw in our system that tends to undermine and discourage the formation and operation of cooperatives as business organizations? These are the questions of the Senate Committee on Cooperatives. And actually, CPAs can assist in providing some veritable answers. So I exhort everyone here to effectively use your proven expertise in resolving this and ultimately help promote the growth of the cooperative movement in the country. From the point of view of the CPAs, from within the cooperatives themselves, or as hired external, CPAs are instrumental in helping the cooperatives be fully compliant with the requirements of law and rules accounting standards. Alam ko maraming CPAs ang nasa BIR. Is that the CPAs in the BIR should consider themselves as instrumental in ensuring a healthy balance between the revenue collection mandate of the government and in judiciously effectuating the social justice and economic objectives of our laws. Makakatulong ang mga CPAs, kahit sila nasa BIR, na pagpaparaming na pamahusay na kooperatiba na mabibigyan ng Certificate of Tax Exemption. Indeed, There is also validity in the CBA's observation that the law can be exploited by unscrupulous cooperatives to enter through the back door of the business of tax exemption. We have seen and heard the expose regarding the modus operandi, using farmers' co-ops as fronts in order to import rice and other agricultural products. Now, we have our CPAs, officers and members of the cooperative, prevent fraud, mistakes, and inaccuracy from creeping into the reportorial system of the financial transactions of our cooperative, expose the scams and unscrupulous entities such that the market will become a healthier and more robust for you to substantially curb corruption. Ultimately, on account of the numerical strength of our CPAs, working efficiently in government and in the private sector, our country will certainly be better equipped to prevent and combat all financial crimes and money laundering offenses and the so-called white-collar crimes, those which are now emerging as a massive and dangerous threat to the financial health of our economy and, for that matter, for the global economy as a whole. In summary, all of the above thoughts that I have shared with you are precisely why I say that accountants are important in our society. So in closing, let me once again exhort the CPAs to truly live up to their oaths, ideals, and ethics before the public that they have sworn to serve. Let us all make it a lifelong passion and commitment to always learn by religiously complying with the continuing educational program of your profession. Remember, and this I try to remind everyone that I speak before, the ASEAN integration is just around the corner, 2015. By 2015, we will already have to open the practice of all professionals. This is a big challenge because we are already confronted with a difficult economic environment in our country today. However, looking at it positively, it is a great opportunity in the sense that we will also gain a chance to showcase to the ASEAN international scene the Filipino brand of the accountancy practice, that of a high quality, ethical, and always committed to serve the public. And so before I end, let me take this opportunity to send my best wishes to all the graduates of accountancy in our country who shall be taking the licensure examinations these coming days. Hanggang dito na lamang po. Maraming salamat sa pagkumbinay ninyo sa inyong abang lingkod. Mabuhay ang ating mga kooperatiba, mabuhay ang PICPA at ang mga Pilipinong CPA. Maraming salamat po. Thank you and good morning.